Spawn number 1. What would shall it be? I call it dock box 1. But the only spawns close to here are right there in mannequins. Right in here. I'll show you. Only the closest spawn to the here is mannequins in here. Like right here. This one right here. And then further, well, that's kind of far, but they also spawn on stairs, but that's a little far from here. So don't worry about that. Other side is fine. And the next one, this side, would be in post-production, which will be right here in this room. The closest. Right in this here. There's one in here also. It's possible to spawn in here. Look. Right here, the door's already open, so someone spawned in here. So they're the two closest spawns to this spawn. Right here, dock box spawn, as I call it. So, when you spawn here, you just gotta, there are the two main ones you gotta look at. So yeah, well that's number 1 anyway. On the next one. No fast, I'll lose 100 mil. It'd be wild. Alright, okay, so we spawn editing. The closest one to editing is warehouse right here. I'll show you in a minute. We're one warehouse and one on top of the stairs. Or in the stairwell. Either in the middle or the bottom. But careful, they can always be right here. When you run out here, they can be right there also. But one spawn is in here. These are the closest spawns. So in the stairwell right here. This is one spawn. And then the second closest spawn to this area is over here. Is in loading. This is the second closest. I'll show you. Diddly diddly do. Second closest spawn to editing is in warehouse right here. Right here. They can spawn right here. Literally right here. So when you spawn editing, they're the closest two you gotta watch out for. And obviously they can spawn in bottom mannequin, the last. I'll show you also. But yeah, but they're the closest two spawns. To this spawn, to editing spawn anyway. We call that editing. Alright. On the next one. No, if, oh, okay, right, okay. First off, spawn. Closest, okay, this is a garage, this parking spawn. So the closest spawn to here, probably the only closest spawn to here would be in these rooms right here. So one team can spawn right here, literally right here. So they can just run out, run in, look, watch there. And they can also spawn back here. In here, right here. Right here. There's the only two closest spawns to parking anyway. That's the only two spawns you gotta worry about. Right here. Channel bio or whatever. I was like, ooh, cool. Just to test it. Oh, something I left out in this hallway right here is another spawn. For typically duo solos or duos, but it can happen like 4-mans too. So just be careful. Alright, on to the next. Parking. Alright, okay, we just seen this one. This is server room. Be careful. So they don't spawn to your left this time. They can spawn in parking, pretty much. Right here. Where I just shown you where we spawned last. Right here. And typically they run here. And by the time you can get to here before they get out. So you could like wait for them if you wanted to. But other than that, that's the closest spawn to here. The other second closest spawn on the other side will be warehouse, which will be over here. Which will be in here, pretty much, essentially. Right here. Literally right here. This one right here. Right in that area. And sometimes people run here. Just be careful. Because sometimes instead of going general, which they normally do, they run this way. They come into the kitchen. And this is where they push in. Right? That's a typical push. There. Voila. And then that's server room. That's a server. That's called server room spawn. Oh, something I left out in this hallway right here is another spawn. For typically duo solos or duos. But it can happen like 4-mans too. So just be careful. Alright, on to the next. Appreciate the follow. What'd you X, brother? I didn't see it. Alright, so this spawn is only a forbidden spawn. The closest spawns to here are in post-production. I'll show you. From here, careful here. They can spawn in post-production right here. Right here. So when you run out, they can look up, you know, etc. Just be careful. And the second closest spawn to glass room would be over here. This one only happens in Forbidden. I'll just figure it out. But the second closest spawn is right here. Right here. Right here. So the timing will be, so let's say it's team spawn, you spawn glass where you just spawned, where I was showing you. They can run here. Careful. And by the time you get to here, they'll be about here. So would they be here when you are right here? They'll be close. So if you run from glass right to here, they'll be like close here, right here already. Please give us a good spawn. Okay. Did we do this one already? Okay, this one under library. I don't think we got this one. Okay, but a team can spawn right here. I know it's crazy, but they can spawn back there. So back of garden. I'll run there actually. I'll show you. They can spawn back of garden right here. Goes to spawn. And also, some rare occasions they can spawn in glass right here. In here. Right here. And on top of that, as you can hear to my right, they can spawn inside post-production right in front of us. I'm trying to avoid these people. They can spawn right here. In here. So these 3 spawns are the closest. So you just gotta watch out for those 3. And that's the spawns for bottom library. Okay, here we go. So sometimes as a solo or a 2-man, you can spawn here, right? If you spawn here as a 2-man or solo, the closest spawns will be 1. They can either spawn at any of these. 1 team, never 2 teams. So 1 team in here can spawn. Just kidding. 1 team in here can spawn. Another team in here can spawn. This area. And then another team parking. So they're the only closest spawns that you can get when you spawn there. Just these 3. Everything else, and obviously loading. I'll show you right now, like I do in everyone. Ba-na-bum, ba-na-bum-bum. Oh, is that person? I think there's a person right here. But I can spawn in loading right here. So sometimes they can push this way. But these are the closest spawns, right? You're probably getting the gist of it by now. But yeah, right here. Yeah, so that's if you spawn there. You're kind of getting the gist of the whole kitchen spawns right now. So yeah. Alright, on to the next one. SK2 is better in my opinion. Oh, mannequin spawn. Perfect. Okay, right. Okay. So mannequin spawn. The closest spawns can be... I'll show you right now. You just heard them. At the dock box spawn. Right here. We just heard one right here. And a team can spawn in this alley right here. Right here. Literally right here. So right here or dock box. When you get this one, 2 can spawn there. And of course spiral. I'll show you where it is. Spiral and editing will be the closest ones. As you can hear them above us right now. Or like right here. So this team would have came from editing. So this would have been spiral or editing. He's creep walking. He's literally slow walking. This is... Alright, okay, continue the video. Sorry, the interruption. I think you can spawn spiral right here. As you just see me eliminate that guy. He would have spawned right here, spiral, or he would have spawned in editing. One or the other. So when you get that spawn, they're the only spawns close to you. What in the world? Or in editing, right here. So yeah. Alright, but in that area, this is the only closest spawns, right? So there's only 3. This one typically goes... Editing typically 1 or 2 ways. They either go top donut, which is through this way, or towards warehouse that way. You'll hear them. You'll hear a bunch of footsteps though. 1 or the other way. Alright, on the next one. Alright, so loading you spawn right here. The closest spawns to loading will be inside editing, right in front of you. I'll go show you again. Ba-na-bam. Right here. They'll be inside editing, right? And sometimes they push you pretty quickly, so just be careful. So they spawn in here, and if they're like, typically if they're 4-man trying to rush, they'll just come up this way, and they'll push here pretty quickly. you'll hear them, just listen out for footsteps. And then the second closest spawn is kitchen. But it's not really close though. It's like back server room. It's pretty far away, but I'll show you anyway. Find that done. Sometimes they push it this way, but very rarely in my experience anyway. The closest spawns are one like a 2-man can spawn right here, which one I showed you before. And obviously they can spawn inside back pump room right here. Inside server room right here. You know the spawns in this area from what you've seen so far. Yeah, and they're the closest spawns to warehouse. And let's just get on to the next one. See spawn here. There's another spawn right here. Post production. And the closest spawns to this is right here. I'll show you. Hopefully I don't die. One bomb. Closest spawn to here is bottom library right here. They spawn around this area right here. That's one. Heal up. I'm just making a video on that endless. And then the closest spawn is right here. A team can spawn right here. They're like spawn like facing this way. So sometimes you get pushed. Then obviously over the other side, they're the two closest to this spawn anyway. That you just gotta be careful about. Ba-dum bum, ba-dum bum bum. But anyway, when he puts the guy, I bless. Then obviously the closest one at this side is at this dock box right here. Right here. Team can spawn right here. And on top of that, they can spawn in this back alley here. Back here. And they're the closest to that spawn. Like in the, right, they're the closest that you get. Pretty much. Right here. They spawn like right here. That's the closest spawns. Alright, so last one here. Right here. This one's chaotic. So right here, the closest spawn to this one. It can be right here. It can be right here. They can spawn right here. I know it's pretty close. Or second closest spawn will be right here. Back up here. In here. Right here. They're the two closest spawns to back there. And obviously, the spawn top spiral also another spawn. So just be careful top donut. And then at the other side would be post production. So over here. Wait, money my kit. For this, right here. This is the other closest spawn, and that's pretty much it for there. So now you know pretty much all the spawns on the map, essentially. So now you just gotta get used to the timings and getting used to them, right? That's all you gotta do. I can't really show you the timings too correctly because it's kind of hard to tell you the timings. When you play, you probably learn and figure it out, right? That's probably the best way to learn them. But at least you'll know where they're coming from, right? You won't be oblivious to that. People can rotate really quick in this game, so just get ready, you know, just be prepared because TV is a small map. So, you know, again, the more you play, you get used to the timings, but at least you know where they're coming from now, right? At least you'll know where they're coming from. All right, we're finished with that video though. Hope you boys enjoyed it. I hope it was very clear to understand. If you want more, let me know. And yeah, I appreciate y'all watching if you got it this far. Much love, and I'll see you in the next ones. Adios.